These phones here, this is any French.
I'm really one where there are two.
Oh shit.
Fucking hell.
And now.
Let me just grab something.
I tell you what.
Hang on.
Please don't.
Put that anywhere.
Tim will not be long for this world. If you put that on, please don't do that to him.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think he actually saved Tim actually there. I think he saved Tim.
I'm going to test.
So maybe a dice roll for Tim.
Definition of blind handle.
Yeah, that was what we've just seen, isn't it? Tom, no. Fantastic. Tim Paul. There you go.
He's already typing.
Tim Scholl. Curry's actually saying Tim Scholl. Personal to roll.
What's the earliest we can get there? Is it collected today?
He ran this morning at 6 in the rain. I was like, no. In the dark, in the rain.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. James, do you want to kick off?
Richard, everyone fit and raring to go?
They are, mate, yes. Excitement in camp to get going, yeah, clean bill of health.
How are you feeling ahead of this semi-final? One game away from a World Cup final. What would it mean to you and the guys out there?
I think it means this game itself means a great deal. We know the stakes are high, but we have to treat this as a game by itself and not play what next week might bring. So we're fully focused on playing one of the best teams in the world.
And very few people are giving you a chance. Does that make it a free hit? Does that take the pressure off?
It's a World Cup semi-final. There's no way that you go into that game without feeling something. That's a good thing. As for being written off, that's been for a fair while now.
But is the pressure on them?
No, I think if there is, they've shown that they can deal with it. They've dealt with it last World Cup. They've dealt with it in numerous games. So, yeah, not something that we'd have been clinging on to.
What do you make of the challenge ahead? Kevin Sinfield said he was in awe of this Springboks team. How do you feel about what they're going to bring?
I was just super impressed with them as an outfit. Evolved a little bit, but without changing their DNA, which we know is incredibly physical with a good kicking game on the back of a rush defence. So stuff that we're going to have to deal with, but we need to make sure that we're giving them some food for thought as well.
It looks like torrential rain forecast. Has that come into your planning, your training, preparation?
It definitely comes into our planning, yeah. So look to the weather forecast. Lads have had some wet balls, as it would normally be the case in these sorts of weeks, and talking about what that means for you, your units, and as you an individual. So yeah, definitely part of our planning.
Tom, Elliot, you were both there 4 years ago in that final. Just your memories, and can you harbour that pain at the full-time whistle and use that, even if it's not in your full memory, but use that as motivation at all?
Yeah, obviously it was disappointing 4 years ago, but I think the feel around this team is a very different team. Obviously I had a bit of time out from this squad, and then to come back in, there's a different feeling within this group. So we're going to try and harness that, and what all of the last sort of a year, 2 years planning gone into this to hopefully perform to our best on the weekend.
Tom? Same question.
We're fully excited to go after this week. Springboks they've changed, they've developed their game. They've matured, and we have as well. So I think this is going to be a clash where it's two very exciting teams going at each other, and we can't wait to go.
What did you learn from that night? About yourself, about them?
Well, it doesn't matter in terms of, this is a different team, we're a different team, they're a different team. It's kind of what I've learned the past kind of few weeks watching them. I think that's the main thing.
Which is?
That they're a very good team.
Thanks, Tom.
Richard, we saw Dan Carter was in with the All Blacks this week, and I know sometimes squads get people in to, give a talk in a big week or present the jerseys or anything like that. Is there any similar plans for England this week?
No, not that I'm aware of. The lads usually do that the night before the game between themselves, which is great for them to do, and part of what they've done for quite a while. So, no, we're keeping it tight with fully focused on this weekend and what we're going to do. I don't think we need anything extra this week.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because you're the ones who've brought yourselves to this point, and as a group you understand all of that in a way that kind of nobody else can. There's something special about that, isn't there?
Yeah, hopefully we're creating that feeling of togetherness. The longer we're together, the more time we spend, the more battles we go through as a group, the tighter we should become, and no bigger test of that than this weekend.
And you can take a lot of confidence, can't you, in the way that you've come through those tests, like you say. Steve's talking about finding a way to win, but also, in the biggest of games you've had in this tournament, the sort of intensity you've put out onto the field, from the first second, you could see the difference, couldn't you? And I suppose that must give the group a lot of confidence.
Yeah, they should take a lot of confidence from what they've done so far, managing to win the tight ones. But that goes up a level this week. We know the size of the challenge in front of us. It's a good thing that we know it and we're excited about it. And as I say, Saturday night, we need to give the absolute best of us, and I'm sure we will.
And with the way the Springboks approach the game, I suppose tactically, but also their attitude, like you're talking about, the way they approach rugby generally, that's something you can really get your teeth into, isn't it? Obviously, we know their quality, but they don't really make any apology for what they do or how they do it. So you know what's coming, and two teams can just sort of leave everything out there.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone should ever apologise for being who you are and having your identity. Sometimes it feels like people want that apology and everyone play the same way. Game rugby is brilliant because of all the different styles and they all work. If you get it right in the day, we need our style to work for us.
And Elliot, can I just ask about, obviously Freddie Stewart comes back in. What will he add to the team tomorrow night that obviously, just with the change from Marcus at fullback?
I think Fred's been brilliant ever since he started playing for England, really. Confidence he's shown in the last sort of since the start of the World Cup campaign has been brilliant. So he's obviously a rock at the back under the high ball. He's really grasping the attack game now. He's making really good decisions on the edge, which is putting me in space usually, which is nice. But yeah, he's a quality player, and we back him all the way. And I think the way that the relationship with us in the back three now is brilliant. We can talk to each other on the field, make sure we're in the right positions, and try and take advantage of any space better.
Richard, could I just ask you one about Alex Mitchell? He'd be the least experienced of the 3 nines you've got, but you must have serious confidence in him. What do you want to see from him?
Yeah, just what he's shown in the big games so far, which is his spark, but the level of maturity that he's now developing, playing in big test matches. I think you can see him growing all the time. So not going to be asking too much different than what he's bringing, because his ball of energy, he is live wire. If there's anything there for us in and around the ruck, we know that he'll take it.
Has anything surprised you about working with him since you have done this kind of summer?
I suppose how he takes the next challenge, quite unfazed. He's not a player who seems to carry a lot of worry, which is a real strength. Going to game, those positions, close quarters, close to the action, that is a real strength that he seems to be pretty relaxed going into games.
Hi Tom, we've heard this week from Kevin Sibley talking about the team having no regrets and not leaving anything out there in a game like this. And Johnny May early in the tournament talked about he sometimes gets driven by this fear of failure, but everyone's different. What do you play on for yourself? That motivates you for a game like this? Do you think positively about it, or do you sort of say, I don't want to feel the other side of it, if that makes sense?
Okay, I think it's a semi-final. I think if that's not enough to get you up for a game, I don't know what will. So yeah, you're right, everyone's different. Ultimately, we do have to get on the same page and get that buzz and that feeling, and everyone will go about that differently. You know, we've got over 24 hours now to do that. Everyone takes their own different plans, but for me, there's no better place you'd rather be than a semi-final against South Africa. You look at their team and you look at our team. I think it's properly exciting.
Do you take personal confidence in the fact that you've played a lot against South Africa and beaten them, and you've beaten them with the Lions, and you've had good days against them? Yeah, I had both. You know, it goes both ways. I've been lucky enough to experience both and understand what it takes, and it's going to be a lot. So I can't wait to go after it. It's always a great game when you play against them. Richard, can I ask you about the sort of no regrets thing? And were there any moments in your career that you would love to replay and just go like, look? And can you use that positively this week and just say like, just leave everything out there? You don't want to come off the field and thinking, what if, maybe? Yeah, I'm probably not one of the few people who get an answer from where you say I wouldn't change anything. I'd change plenty, because you want to win. You want to win those games. You want to win those moments. How could you have done things slightly differently? It's no different as a coach when you're reflecting. But what they can't come into is much this week. It is about this week on the grass. What can we do to get our planning right? What can we do to get our mentality right? And then you learn whether you win or lose. The losses will probably just stick with you there that bit more. But nothing that we can hang on to. Without dragging up too many bad memories, are there any particular ones that you think about late at night and go, oh God, I'd love to do that again? We'd be here a long time, mate. Yeah, we'd be here a long time. Okay, thank you.
Richard, you mentioned the Springboks, and I think you used the word evolution. Against France, there's some incredible nuances to their game, the way they attacked Bielberry and so on and so forth. In terms of their evolution and their planning for this game, what are you expecting from them? What do you see in the way that they might try and change something, maybe try and throw a little Rassie-based surprise at you? Well, I'm sure that with the smarts of their coaching team that they will try and throw stuff at us. No doubt. Will that be the winning and losing this game? Probably not. It'll probably be the big bits of the game, and then give those little nuances a chance. So I probably wouldn't like to guess what they're going to do, because I know that we'll watch everything and hear everything we say. So whatever we try and give away, I wouldn't like to try and give anyone any head start. And from your point of view, Tom and Elliot, we often talk about physicality, and we really get hung up on the physicality. When I watched France last week, it was more the mental thing that fell apart for France. They forgot to defend. Their concentration went in defence. How important is it to keep that mental approach, that mental concentration going throughout the game?
Yeah, I think massively important. I think we've probably shown in the games this tournament how our defence is getting better and better each game. Probably against Fiji, we probably lacked for that sort of 5-6 minutes when they scored 2 tries, and you can't do that in the semi-final. So we know that. We know what we need to get better this week, and hopefully we can stay on task in that regard. One last one for you, Tom. Did a piece with Nick Easter in the week, and he said, however much you want to prepare for facing South Africa, when they hit you for that first moment, it almost knocks you off your feet. How do you respond to that, and how do you go through your mental approach? What do you think when you're walking into the game like that?
Don't get hit off your feet. I think, we've spoken about it this week, and you've got to get excited for it. As I said before, it's a semi-final against South Africa. It's going to be, I've played them before. It's been physical tests, and I think playing against sides like that is exciting, because you know what you need to do, and it's about doing it and getting the job done on Saturday. So we can't wait to go.
Gents, question for all three of you, please. South Africa silenced the home nation last week, silenced the crowd to win that game. England have a pretty vociferous crowd, and you can have big numbers at the weekend. How big a role do the England fans have to play in getting you over the line, please?
Absolutely massive, in my opinion. I think last weekend against Fiji, it was amazing to look up and see how many white shirts were in the crowd. And I think even in all the games we've had so far, the support's been unmatched in my opinion. So hopefully they can bring that tomorrow. We do hear it is very loud in these stadiums and really does spur us on. So if we can keep going with that, it'll be brilliant for us.
Tom, hi. Can you just talk?
Sorry, three of you there.
Echo what Elliot says. You know, when you do come out and you see the white shirts and realise that it's not like the white seats, it's really exciting. So yeah, when they get going, it's brilliant, and I can't wait to see it tomorrow.
Richard?
Yeah, nice for them to only have to travel to Paris rather than drag them all the way down to Marseille. So hopefully we've got even more energy to shout and sing.
Thanks.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, Tom. Can you just talk a little bit about your own tournament and, you know, the hurdles you've had to get over, obviously with the early red card, etc. You know, and how relieved, pleased, whatever you are to get to this point, still be standing.
Yeah, I thought we'd escaped this question from last week. Yeah, it's been different to say the least. But you know, as I said last week, it's been exciting to be a part of this group. I think the sign of this group is kind of where those guys who probably aren't in the squad are at. And you know, when we've been able to train and do all the other bits apart from play, it's been exciting. It's been brilliant to be a part of. And I think, as I said, that's kind of where a sign of where this group's at. So yeah, obviously you'd like to play a few more minutes, but who wouldn't? But you know, we're here, we're having a great time, and we can't wait to get stuck into tomorrow.
And Richard, can you just expand a bit on the wet ball stuff you've been doing, the mechanics of what you do? And
it'd be pretty standard for a lot of teams when weather's meant to be like the weekend. There'll be logistics guy on the sideline with a bucket of water, with balls ready to go into whenever we're swapping or whether we're starting a set. Yeah, that ball will be wet. The lads will get told about it, so it's no surprise. Just so we're focusing in on what that might be like and the difference of handling a wet ball versus dry one.
Tom, you stood up to a one-on-one physical altercation with Boccia last week at one point. In a game like this, is it about just not letting anything intimidate you, that you show as a collective and individually that you're ready to stand up to anything that gets thrown at you?
Definitely. But I think, you know, the main thing is what happens in between the whistles, making sure that whatever happens, you're on to the next thing, and we attack whatever's next, because that's what matters.
Is that sometimes a sign of another team's frustration if they start throwing left hooks or right crosses at you?
Luckily, I didn't get that far. Thank God for that. But it could be, you know, other players play their best when they're like that. Who knows? But I know Bott is a great player, and I love playing against him.
And for you going into this, you've played in big matches. What do you do? Do you do anything different to psych yourself up, to motivate yourself, to prepare yourself, or do you just have to be calmer than normal in a big game?
Yeah, you know, as a group, I think we've been good so far in terms of we've not shied away from it. You know, semi-final is a semi-final. It's a great occasion. I said before, in terms of the motivating factor, is it's a semi-final. Where else would you rather be? You know, the coaches are giving us a great game plan. You can feel the excitement of the players, and that'll only build till to tomorrow. So it's coming together nicely, and you know, everyone's different. Some people need a calm, some people need a kick up the arse, but it's going to be really exciting, I can tell you that.
Richard, to play your game you need fast ball, clean ball on the rucks. Is it a focus special this week against the South African, and have you told to Ben O'Keefe this part of the game?
Yeah, so it's a massive challenge of the game against Africa, the ruck. So they compete hard for the ball. You switch off for a second and they'll pull bodies into it. So they're amongst the best in the world in that area. So yeah, definitely been a focus for us this week in terms of how we get that bit right, because you're playing against this defence off slow ball, then it will swallow you up. So yeah, definitely a focus for us. As for the referee, got full trust that he'll do a great job in that area.
Okay, last one.
Hi Richard, you mentioned South Africa's rush defence earlier. Is it the toughest challenge you've faced yet as an attack coach?
Yeah, I think they're all slightly different and there's nuances, but we know for a long time Springbok defence has been very, very good. So yeah, certainly a tough challenge for us, but one that we're excited to get after.
And Elliot, the aerial battle will be key as ever. What is the key to getting that right? Is it more of an attitude thing? Is it a technical thing? Particularly in the wet, I guess that becomes even more of a focus.
Yeah, it probably does. I think it's probably everyone's role. It's obviously the back three are probably going to take most of these balls, but it's everyone around them to try and obviously secure that breakdown after, because that's a massive thing, especially in the wet. So yeah, it's an attitude thing, up in the air, be brave in the air, and we'll do that this Saturday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.